What's up, guys? Elijah Scheidler, owner and supervising broker of Venue Real Estate. And I'd love to introduce you to my son, Jamin Uriah. He was born here on March 1st, 2022. My wife did such a wonderful job. My goodness, that woman is strong. And it was awesome to be up at Bozeman Health and to celebrate the passing of an era. This is our fourth child. I believe it's our fourth and final. 4 is gonna be a good number. And it was so awesome to sit together and to rejoice and to celebrate the portion of time that we got to spend with the staff up at Bozeman Health. A lot of the care providers that have been there, been with us through our whole 7-year process of giving birth to our 4 kids, Nancy, Becky, Carly, Sarah, all of the doctors, Dr. Allen, Dr. Cronfest, Dr. Gillis. There's so many people, and I know it's so difficult mentioning names because as I'm mentioning names, there's so many others that I'm thinking of that I don't want to feel left out. But it was such a wonderful opportunity for my wife to sit and to celebrate all of the people who have served us over the last 7 years, but to also at the same time realize that there was a passing of an era where we were no longer going to be able to engage those people, to engage that space and time. As we talked about it, there is no context that we can think of where it would make sense to pack our bags, go back up to labor and delivery, and to hang out in a room for 2 or 3 days to have the medical staff serve us. That just doesn't make sense. We'll have to meet in another context if we want to continue moving forward in relationship with all of our medical providers. But as we thought back, it had been such a beautiful 7-year period of building relationships with people and having connection within a specific environment, time, and place. I think it's so beautiful that as I consider my children, as they get older, I can always look back and see their mature person now contained in their little faces, even as infants. But I find it so interesting that as I sit and I ponder my little ones in their infant state, that there is no way that I can see forward in time to what they will look like in the future. I don't know if you've ever considered that if you have children, that as you sit and you stare at your little ones, that their full person, everything they will ever be, is being held in your arms at the point of their birth. That means that moving forward, growing your children, raising them, is a process of discovering forward who they have always been. I love my kids at every juncture of their growth and their development. The smell of newborns as that first few weeks, so beautiful. Seeing them grow and change, their first words, their first steps, the first time that they tell you no, the first time they tell you, I love you, I miss you, Daddy, you hurt my feelings. That first time that your daughter looks to you with that look in her eye that says, Daddy, am I beautiful? Life always continues to get more complicated as things move forward, as things grow. They become more expensive, more fast-paced, and it's more difficult to understand my children the older that they get. But as I truly think about that, I realize that my children don't become more complicated to understand. It's me who's growing in my own self-understanding. I often think that it would be easier to have my children stay in an infant state forever. That there's the time periods when I could put my kids down in the middle of a rug on a blanket, come back in 5-10 minutes, and they're still in the same space. the times when I could put my kids in their high chairs, strap them down, and make their lunches and dinners. There's times when I could put them on a sofa, turn on a video, and they'd sit there for hours and watch it. But now we're in a season where I can't find my kids and they're outside without having told me. Or I try to tell them something about nature and they correct me because they watched too many Wild Kratts episodes by themselves on the sofa while I was off working. And I can't have the things in my house the way I want them in my house simply by putting them in their beds early and closing their doors. What I discover as a parent as I move forward is in order to discover all that my children have always been and are becoming more of, that I have to let go of who they have been in order to discover and embrace everything that they will become. My wife and I have finished out a season of time, and we look back with great celebration of all of the wonderful people that have helped us along our way. But we've planted a monument in the ground that marks the end of an era and that we're moving forward into our next season of life. No longer having children, but in having children, now growing them forward. As we move forward in time, though, it's the memories that are built moment by moment that will build our momentum into a future that is just as beautiful, just as full of joy as when they were little. You can always look back at the past and see the image of your mature children in your infants' faces and celebrate the seasons of monuments of time as you're moving forward in momentum of maturing and growing together.